Hey guys.
Hey everybody, welcome to God Works Podcast, and today we are here with Grant, and he's going to share just about his experience in the workplace dealing with frustration.
Yep.
And just what that looks like. He's going to share some stories. He's going to just tell us about that and how he handled that situation.
Yep.
The scripture that we're going to be basing things off of today is going to be Philippians 4, 6 through 7. This is what it says. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And then the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Yeah.
So I love this scripture because basically it dives right into the topic that you're talking about being anxious, about frustrations, things that just overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And but just like in your experience, like how has that happened in your life in the workplace?
Right. So I work for a pool company, and they have me doing a lot of things at a lot of different times. So sometimes I'll be cleaning pools, vacuuming them out, getting the leaves out, balancing the chemicals, and doing all that junk. My main job is repairman, and that's what I enjoy doing. So repairing the filters, putting on new motors, like the things that make the pool run, like that's what I like to handle. And so but sometimes, like I said, they make me do the cleaning side, which I don't like to do that because it's not my expertise, it's not what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, for sure.
And so one week they had me cleaning pools for a guy that was full-time. And since I'm in school right now, I'm only part-time. So he had like 15 pools in one day that he had to clean.
Man.
And I told him, I was like, hey, these pools may not get done. I'm coming in at 1 o'clock. It's going to get dark at like 6, and I have to clean 15 pools.
Definitely.
An hour away. So it takes me an hour to get there, an hour to 15 minutes to get back because of traffic through Dallas. And so after the first day, I was really frustrated.
Yeah,
I was like, this really sucks. I was like, I don't like doing this. So I called my manager over the repairs, and I was like, hey, this cleaning is really hard. She's like, hey, just stick with it. It's only for 1 week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday comes around. I'm almost done. And I get a call from my manager over the repairs.
Yeah.
And she goes, hey, Grant, I have some bad news. Brace yourself. I'm like,
Oh man.
what is it? She goes, well, they told me that you will now be a cleaner and no longer a repairman, and that you will just be doing cleaning from now on.
Oh,
And after this whole week of stress, of hating my job for that week because I'm doing what I'm not passionate about, it's a lot of busy work, cleaning, I was very, very frustrated.
Yeah,
and I was like, to the point I'm like, I'm not passionate about it. I was like, look, I don't need y'all's money this badly to stress myself out every day. And so I told her, I was like, look, it's not worth my stress to be able to continue working for you guys if you're gonna demote me from repairman to cleaner. Like, that's a demotion. That's a pay decrease. They would keep me at the same pay, but I would be doing the grunt work.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I told him, I was like, I'm not interested in working unless y'all can work with me.
Yeah.
And to get me to do what I like to do, because it's not fair. I've been with you guys for 2 years. What's the problem? So I tell them that, and the owner calls me. The owner of the company. It's a big company. We have like thousands of pools that we service a week. And he's like, hey, Grant, it sounds like you don't want to help us out. You're not being a team player.
Oh man.
And I'm like, I don't know what that lady told you. I said, I'm frustrated because I feel like you guys are taking me for granted, just using me, because y'all need help and I feel like abused in a sense. Y'all are, because you're just having me do this other stuff. I'm like, I have so much more potential that could be given to you guys, making y'all more money in repairs. And y'all didn't even ask me if I wanted to do cleaning. Like, if I'm interested in doing that, y'all just told me, oh yeah, you're gonna do it because we say. And so I told them, I said, unless y'all can work with me, maybe give me only 10 pools a day instead of 15 and keep it in this area, I'll be willing to help. But if y'all can't work with me, then I don't want to work for you guys anymore. They're like, oh, well, Grant, you don't have to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's what I said. That's my requirements. And so they're like, don't come into work on Monday. And I'm like, fine with me. Like,
oh man,
y'all are making me mad. And I'm like, that's fine with me because I don't want to clean those pools. I don't want to do a full-time route. So, yeah. So it was very, very stressful in that time.
And being in school, man, I mean, you go to 12 and then you have to go and put on this massive workload that they don't even consider that you have school all day, and then you only have a few hours in the evening to get things done. And then that's not fair for you, for them to tack on all this stuff and then make it seem as if it's your fault and that you volunteered for all this specific work and now you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's on their plate, man. That's not fair.
So, yeah, it was, at that time I was really worked up and got really riled up. And I called my manager again and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to work here anymore. Y'all really suck. Like y'all are being really mean to me. And so I was able to, after I kind of calmed down a little bit, I was able to pray and be like, God, do you want me even working here anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in doing it. And see, but this was a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving in December.
Yeah.
So I told him that I was gonna continue working for another 4 months, and in December I was gonna quit. So I'm like, I'm gonna quit and I'm gonna be done with that job in 3 months. I could just quit now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I was praying and I felt like God really was kind of trying to change my heart in that, on how I look at it. And the more I prayed about it, I was like, God, just let me see, somehow you're going to work this together for my good. I don't know what's going to come from that. And so he really kind of changed my heart, because he's like, well, Grant, you're getting paid pretty good money per hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, God, you're right. And he's like, and they're working with your schedule.
Yeah.
They don't have to give you a job. I'm like the one of only 2 people that work part-time. Everybody else is full-time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, yeah, God, they are working with my schedule. And he's like, you know, since you've been working this job, you've never gone hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You've always had what you need of all it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, God. And he's like, it's only for a couple months. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, and so it was one of those things. God's like, you know, it's not all bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they may be mistreating you a little bit, but at least I have a job.
Yeah, definitely.
At least I'm getting paid decent money. I could be working for minimum wage. And so I was able to, I was like, you know what, God, thank you for providing me this job.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it may suck right now. Thank you for providing me this job that earns money. Thank you that I have a job. Some people can't work when they're going to school. And so that, just kind of like the verse says, you know, he was able to tell me, you know, don't be anxious, but just pray and thank God for what you have, you know, and in time he'll change your, what is, read verse 7 again. What does that say?
So it says, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds.
Yeah.
And that's so good, because like for everyone listening, in the workplace, you know, this blue collar work that we do, it gets very frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not something simple. You get tasks that are hard to handle, you get things thrown at you. But in the midst of all this, we have a promise from God that says if we do everything with supplication and prayer and thanksgiving, saying, God, I know this is stressful, but I'm so thankful that I have just like you did. I'm thankful that you've given me a job to supply for my family. You have a wife.
Exactly.
You know, you're preparing to move to another town, just start fresh. And God's given you the ability to work up until that point to provide for yourself and your family.
Yeah.
And when you do that, for everyone listening, when you're in this situation, and when you're in this thing, and your job's getting thrown at you, all this frustration, you just want to quit, because sometimes life hits you like that. But you got to slow down. You need to be slow to speak, slow to get angry, just like the word tells us to do.
That's good.
And think about what's really going on. Like, God, I'm very frustrated. This doesn't seem like something that I should be going through. What should I do?
Yeah.
And then it says right here, you know, in Philippians 4, you know, do everything with prayer, supplication, thanksgiving, and let your requests be made known to God. And then God will give you the peace that passes all understanding. It passes the understanding of what's at hand. Well, this is what they're doing to me. Well, the peace that God gives you is going to surpass that and allow you to move forward, you know, and not stay in that, that state.
That's exactly what happened, too, in this situation. I was able to pray, and he's like, you know what, Grant? I'm going to give you peace in this situation. So
so if you're listening, if you're faced with this circumstance, when frustration comes and anxiety and all these things, just talk to God about it, and then He's going to give you that peace.